Yes. Q&A. Yeah, welcome to your paradise, the place you long for all your life. It's Diva Lyri in the house rocking with you, and we get ready to put it down tonight. Yeah, welcome. Welcome. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri in the house, representing for UNA University and UNA Republic. UNA University for me. Yes, 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 yes. UNA. Yeah, welcome, 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 welcome. Yes, 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 yes. My sisters don't want to stop singing, but stop saying it. We're going to get to work tonight. Welcome, everybody. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri, representing for UNA University and UNA Republic. Halo, halo. We got a wonderful topic tonight. And I want to talk about this brother. His name is 607 Unk. And the title of this session is 607 Unk in his right mind? All right. So we're going to get into that tonight. If you haven't heard about him, you're going to see a little bit of him this evening as we go over some of the things that he talks about. And let's see if he really is in his right mind. Okay. Before we get into that, you all know Genesis Jen, welcome. All my people in YouTube, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I want you to like. I want you to share. I want you to subscribe, okay? All my people on TikTok, welcome. Evelyn, welcome. All my other people, I can only see so much from this platform. Let me get back in it because I keep messing up. All right, but we're live. We're streaming on YouTube, TikTok, and X. We should be streaming on X. At some point, we will be streaming in YouTube or some of the other channels. I can't with this. I'm trying to see my TikTok people. Welcome, TikTok. If you're in the house, say something so I know you're in the house. All right. I want y'all to on TikTok, please share, subscribe, and join and send all your love. Send your love to me. All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us. Okay, now I want to get into this for those of you who don't know what UNA Republic is. We help people find their financial freedom, their social freedom, and most importantly, their spiritual freedom. So we want you, if you're interested in especially gaining your social freedom, your legal freedom, find us at unauniversity.com. For my people on TikTok, leave an inbox. Name, number, phone number. Name, number, email. Name, number, email. Okay, so we can get and invite you to our workshop. Okay, now this is our membership trust package. With this comes all of your documentations for your trust. It has a membership badge and it will have an allodial ID from UNA Republic. Now, what is the purpose of this? For those of you all who know, when you're talking about your sovereignty and gaining your freedom, this documentation here, this is the beginning. This is the most powerful tool that we know of to help you gain your freedom, okay? So now it comes with, once again, your documentation, your membership badge, your allodial ID. It also comes with an education. Most importantly, an education, so that you're just not out here with a piece of paper going, well, it don't work. It don't work for me. If you don't have the knowledge, nothing can work for you. This is a tool. You must have the knowledge and know how to use it, okay? So it comes with the education so that you'll know what's going on. And in that education, anything you've heard about dealing with sovereignty is going to be in that class, whether it be the SF-181 form, taking over your social security number on irs.gov. It also deals with the passport. It also deals with the authentication of a birth certificate. And most importantly, what this trust is and why it's so powerful. Okay. Also, we're going to put them on record for you should you get this membership trust package. Okay. So find us at unauniversity.com, or you can find us at leave your information in the inbox. Okay. Name, number, email. Okay. You all know about the beginner law book. Very powerful book. If you don't have it, I advise you to get it. You can get this in ebook form, or you can get the physical book. Now, with the physical book, we're going to send you additional copies of the universal laws. All right, additional copies of the hierarchy of law chart, the vibratory frequency. All of these are in the book. All right, so you additional copies because we want you to put them up on your refrigerator, on your mirrors, on your walls. Put them up so they become a part of you. Also, if you get the physical copy, you're going to receive the civilization cycle and societal. These are very important in helping you understand how to stand. In this beginner law book, there are also the maxims of law, all 200 and something of them. These laws come straight from the Bible. Why is this important? Because these are the highest laws, the universal laws, okay? But these are the ones that they will recognize because, once again, they come straight from the Bible. You got to start learning how to stand on the maxims of law. There's a lot of other information in this book. All right, so if you want to have this book, find us at UNA University. You can get this book, okay? And put this information to work for you. Let's get into this, okay? Today's session, we're talking about all right. Hello, Damien. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Once again, people on YouTube, welcome. TikTok, welcome. X, welcome. All right. So I want to get into this this guy. His name, once again, is 607 Ankh. And a lot of people want to take him for being crazy. So let's understand who he is. He's known to us because he produced the song Country Grammar, which was sang by, what's his name? What's his name with the Band-Aid on his face? I forget his name. Hold on for a second. I'm getting a message coming in. Incoming. All right, 1 second. Let me check. I said my camera's not clear. Let me clear this up. All right, is it clear now? Nelly, thank you. I was thinking Kelly and Jelly and Belly and everything else, but Nelly, that's, you know what? I need to do more trivia because now y'all letting me know you're in the house. Yeah, but Nelly. So Nelly has this song Country Grammar. 607 he says that he actually wrote the song, and they told him he was not attractive enough to perform the song. And forgive me, my tech people, they're saying there's an issue with the system. Are we buffering? Can you guys hear me okay? I just want to make sure before I get started and get into this, everything's good. Are we buffering? Can you all hear me okay? I'm waiting on you all to tell me if you can hear me okay. I want to know. Make sure I don't move forward. I want to thank everybody. King TY, Mute Baby, welcome. Everybody who's in the house, welcome. Leave a message so that we can hear you. Sound is good. Video is not clear. Is my video clear for anybody else? I'm seeing it okay. What the problem is? All right. All right, so let me carry on. All right, so here's this guy. He goes by the name of 607 Ankh. And what happened is he wrote this song, Country Grammar, he says, and they told him that he was not attractive enough to perform the song, so they gave the song to Nelly. All right. I know y'all saying that that is blurry. I got my lights over here. Give me a second. Let me turn my lights out. I'll pull my lights out. All right. Is that better? I hope not. I hope that this is not blurry, but we're just trying to work with what we have. Let me see if I can direct this just a little bit better. Okay, it's good now. All right, tech people saying it's good. So let's go. So you got this guy, 607. He is the one who says he wrote the song Country Grammar and they ended up giving it to Nelly because he said that they told him he wasn't attractive enough to write it. So of course he's got his lawsuits out, and he's doing whatever he's doing in the music industry. How he's getting his money, I'm not sure. But one of the things that he has been doing is he's been putting out a lot of esoteric information. Now he says he's half Illuminati, half street. What that means exactly, I don't know. But what he does speak on is a lot of the spiritual knowledge that we give here. Now, I'm going to go into one of the videos that he's put out. And I've actually shared a lot of some of his videos in our private sessions to help people understand some of the things that he's saying. Yes, he, for the most part, everything that I've seen, I would say I agree with 95% of it, and then some. Okay, so some of the things that he said, we're gonna go into them, and I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna tell you what I agree with and what I don't agree with, and then I'm going to give you some backing, some things that you can see for yourself. Should you decide to go and do your own research, okay? So I'm excited to talk about him because, again, he's saying some things that a lot of us have been saying, and I know I've been saying for decades now. And and I put them on record. Like when I started doing these sessions and speaking about the spiritual side, it was just to document it. Okay, I know that it was going to be hard for people to understand it or even believe it, but just to document it. So I've been doing this for over a decade now, and he clearly has knowledge about the spiritual side, even though he presents it in such a way. People think he's crazy, and people want to say that same thing about me. But we're going to go through it today. And we're going to, talk about some of the things that he says, and then we're going to see if we can't back them up and give you something that you can go and look up for yourself. Okay, so I'm going to give shout outs to Real Life Productions, which is where this video was coming from, where he did an interview with them. This is the infamous blue couch that a lot of people know of. So we're going to go through this video, and let's take a look at some of the things he says. See if we can't break it down. All right, so I'm going to start. Let's get this right here. Okay, so we're going to start with Ankh and him being on the infamous blue sofa, and let's get that on the screen. We ready? I want to welcome everybody once again, all my people on YouTube, all my people in TikTok and X. Welcome, and welcome. Anthony says it seems like he repeated Bobby Hemmett. I don't even want to go into Bobby Hemmett right now, but I will say that this guy is I don't know where he got his information from, but I wouldn't say it was Bobby Hemmett. So let's go into some of the things he's saying. And Bobby Hemmett was speaking some things that were on point spiritually as well, but this guy comes at it from a different angle. All right, so let's get into it.
Let me tell you this. I'm telling everybody at home, do this. You think I'm crazy? Take a glass of water. Take one glass. Take two glasses. Take one glass, say, I love you, I love you, I love you, and put it in the freezer. Take another glass and say, you bitch, I hate you. Talk to it like your baby mama or like Charleston White, and put it in the freezer. The one that you yelled at gonna ball up and have like a lot of knots in it. And the other one gonna be smooth. That tell you that water, it holds consciousness. So what this water does, if I put it in the room, right, and it stays level, I know that everything is level, is okay in that room. But when it start balling, bitch, I look for the demons.
When it start balling, I look for the demons. All right. What is he talking about? Now, this is something that I've said on this channel several times, and we've done these examples, and I've shown you guys with the rice water project. So I'm going to show you this. With us, we'll take rice and we'll put it in water, and we're going to name 3 bowls of rice. So we'll boil rice in a pot, and then we'll take that pot of rice and we'll put it into 3 different bowls. And on those bowls, we'll label them. This one is called indifferent. We'll label one indifferent, love, and hate. All right. And I'm just going through these. I forget which one this is, but this one is hate. And you'll see right here where there is mold on it. This came after 3 days. So it doesn't take much time at all for you to really understand how powerful water is. And so what he's saying is water has a conscience. Yes, it does. And so we show it with boiled rice because it'll show up very quickly in rice. So after 3 days, really, you're going to see, if you call it hate. So this one is hate, and it's got a mold right there showing up on it. There's the one that's hate right there. We label one love. This one is still hate. All right. Once again, hate. This is indifferent. Now, notice how indifferent, it just turned yellow on the top. All right. And it's hard to see because it started to have condensation on the inside of it. But here is love. Now, love, actually, it started to bubble up. It didn't get a mold inside of it, but it started to try to lift out of the container because it was getting love. It was trying to grow. And then I had to put a bag over it because it was busting out of the container, unlike the other 2. So basically, I'm only showing this to say that, and thank you. I'm only showing this to show that the bottom line here is that water absolutely does have a consciousness, and we show it. We've done this project many times. And when you're doing it, using it during doing a rice project, you're going to see very quickly. Label one love, label one hate, label one indifferent, and you're going to see the difference in the 3, even though they all come from the same rice. Okay, so now let's get back to 607 and let's see what else he's got to say, because this one, he's going to talk about what he calls the beginning, and I want to tell you my thoughts on this, what he says in particular that I don't necessarily agree with, and I'm going to show you why. All right. He talks about God, or what he calls his gods. And as we've talked about here several times, there are many gods. All right. And he's breaking down what his God is and how he says things began. So let's get into it.
Of the Bible. They start at Genesis, and they start at the creation, and it's only the physical creation. Right. They miss a whole part, and God gave me the beginning. So I got the beginning, like how it happened. So first, it was Abraxas by itself in darkness. Abraxas' attribute, because Abraxas don't create, but he had attributes. His attributes was Sophia, right? Mm-hmm. So Sophia is kind of like high consciousness, like love, wisdom, knowledge.
All right.
That's Sophia.
All right, so I just want to stop right there and forgive me for those of y'all who are like, let's play. All right, listen, I'm going to leave the link in the comment, in the section below, description, so that you can go and see the video in its entirety. But I want to stop it right here because he's talking about his gods, and he's going to go into it a little bit deeper. So what he's saying is there's Abraxas, which is the name of the god that he speaks to, and then he says Abraxas is in the masculine because he couldn't create. Because the only thing that, you know, only reason why something can't create is because it's in the masculine. And then he is the essence of Sophia, which is the feminine, which is love, wisdom, and all of these things he just said. Okay, so this is where he's saying, you know, his God was, and then Sophia created Abraxas, and then Abraxas went on to create all of these other things underneath him, which includes the earth and all of these other things. He's going to explain it. So let's go into it.
That was named your God, but he was evil, mean, corrupt. She locked him in a firmament. This God. Now,
when he's talking about the firmament, some people are not recognizing. Let me say it like this, because there's this whole argument about flat Earth and round Earth. So let's understand that the ancients saw that this was a flat Earth. This is why you have Nut, N-U-I-T, and the goddess, and she's over the planet, and then she's the one who's creating this firmament. So if you look up Nut, N-U-I-T, and in there they speak about you know, that she is what's covering this planet, and she is the firmament or what have you. So that's what he's talking about, that the planet is a firmament, and that means that it would be a flat Earth as opposed to what we've known as a round Earth. All right, and that whatever the being is that created or this firmament was created as an entrapment, or a, as they call this, a prison planet for this being that was created, which is Abraxas.
Hell,
okay.
earth.
Okay.
Right? And then he created Adam, but Adam couldn't breathe. So Sophia said everything you made was good because it duplicated where they was at. So she blew life in the atom, right? But what y'all don't know is that, like I told you in this video, Adam and Eve was one soul. They was in the paroma. And the paroma were all the spirits that they was united together as masculine and feminine. But when they fell and they split, they popped up in two different bodies.
Right.
The male and the female.
Okay, so now I need to stop it right here because I need to make a point on what he just said. He says that Adam and Eve were one, which basically he's saying the feminine and the masculine were one, and then they came to this planet and then they split. I need to make this point here and let us understand something. And I always have to say this because I know I don't want to offend my brother, but we need to make a point here. All right. So let's understand what has happened. All right. So we're going to put this on the screen. Okay. So now, what we have to understand is that everything starts off as female. When we're talking about in this physical plane, everything starts off as female. My brother is my sister. Let's be clear on that. He is an inside out female. There's nothing that he has that the woman doesn't have, because everything he got comes from her. I need that to be made clear. So when he's talking about a split, let's understand there's not a split. He's still feminine. He's still a female. He still got all X's with except for that one Y. He got 20 or 40, how many chromosomes we got in our body? 46, 45 of them are X's with the exception of that one Y. So spiritually, spiritually, he might be something different, which is why he shows up in that vessel. Because I went over this, and we got a book coming out soon as well that really goes into detail about the feminine and the masculine and how the spiritual side comes back. Put that back on the screen for me. All right. Put that back on the screen for me, Savvy. So what we really have to understand is that he comes from these X's here. All right. Now, what happens is at some point there is a check on his spiritual side to see where he's coming from. And that's going to determine whether or not that vessel keeps its X chromosome or it's degraded to a Y. Now, a lot of people get upset with me. Why it's got to be degraded? We equal. There is no equal. There is no equality in this thing. We need to come up off of that. That's one of the lies we've been told. All right. Let's understand what is happening. The feminine, one of her X's is dormant. Meanwhile, he gets to keep full access of this Y chromosome. Let's understand this dormant X chromosome has 14 that she is not tapping into because she has no knowledge of self. That's another spiritual issue with, and he's going to go into some things that I have been speaking about, especially when we're talking about what you're eating. But the feminine, she is the feminine and the masculine. She's the yin and the yang, the darkness and the light when she has knowledge of self. But right now she has no knowledge of self. So this has become dormant because of it. 1,400 genes she has locked up in that other X chromosome that are turning on, by the way. And this is why you see women, you see the split between man and woman. That's her coming back into knowledge of self. I know it seems like, oh, well, men and women are fighting and she don't want to be with him. When this turns on, she doesn't have to lean. But here's the issue. He's got full access to this Y chromosome that's got 100 genes in it. 100, as opposed to her 1,400 that she's not tapping into. This is why he's stronger. This is why he's faster. But the minute she taps back in, it's you all know, you know how she ain't been with a man in a long time. She's strong. Why? Because she's tapping back in. And the way you tap back in is you have to separate. Listen, I'm telling you what the facts are. Here are the facts. Now, let's be clear. There's no split. There is a female that was degraded to a male because of the spiritual entity that's inside of that vessel. I go over this in detail, and I go over understanding what a male actually is. When you're looking at a male, what does that mean? When you're looking at a female, what does that mean about where it came from? There's a lot to this, and I'm not going deep into it, but I want to speak on that because that's the one thing I say. There was not a split. All right. When we're talking, when you hear people talking about equality spiritually, yes, as a spiritual entity, there is equality. But when there is when you see a male being born, what you're seeing is a reflection of what that spiritual entity did in another time. All right. All right. Let's go back into Ankh. And we're going to get into this next one. In this next one, he talks about reincarnation. All right. One of the things, again, that I've spoken heavily about, and a lot of people want to act like reincarnation is not real, but it's absolutely real. He speaks on it here. Let's get into it.
What do they? Oh. You don't know about that?
Yeah.
Listen, this is the lower realm. This is the only place in the universe where bad exists. So the only place they can go is here. They come back in another body. You can do it all over again.
So
they come back in another body and they do it all over again. And this is one of the other things that we spoke about is that when your body transitions or what have you, or it expires, you as a spiritual entity, well, you have the right to either go off and create something that you desire to create or return. And the only way you can go off and come out of the what they call the infinity loop, the only way you come out of it is when you gain knowledge of self. And the more you stay focused on things that keep you from source, the more you stay focused on those things, whether it be food or sex or drugs, then it makes it more difficult for you to tap into all those chromosomes that you don't have access to, women and men. But once your body expires, if you have knowledge of self, then you can go off and create your own dimension, which is what he speaks a lot about. But if you don't have that knowledge, then you will stay in the infinite loop. You will reincarnate. All right. On this next part that I want to go on, he's going to get into how the body is not you. And if you have any comments or questions, I want to hear it. Leave them in the comment section so we can get to it before I get out of here.
You're not the body, right there. It's just better, like, because the body not you. Jesus tried to tell you. Jesus said you're not the body, right? Because like the body not you. You gotta like kind of like talk to your body. You gotta talk to it, tell it what to do. Because if you don't tell it what to do, it'll kind of like control you. Did you know that everything they told you was wrong? They told you the body need food 3 times a day. But did you know that ain't what it need? Do you know that ain't what it need? That's gonna make it too heavy to carry. And it's gonna make you sick. It's gonna put a parasite in your body. Do you know when you hungry, you go growling, it's a parasite? Your stomach not growling because it's hungry. It wants more of that poison. Yeah, food was the first drug.
Food was the first drug. And I've gone into this now. When we're talking about the Bible, you'll notice the Bible talks a lot about fasting, but it never told you why. So understand that when you're eating, you're taking on different living organisms, and they go into your body and they start voting, if you will, in your body. They communicate. I got to say this real quick because we got to understand that when you start to hear about like bipolar and schizophrenic, those are different organisms that are talking to you. So what happens is when these organisms talk, they're going to secrete chemicals into your bloodstream. And those chemicals, they sound like voices. And this is what we're not being told. They sound like voices. So when you're talking about a woman who's bipolar, what have you, well, you're really talking to me about a woman who need to close her legs. Seriously. I know she's been with a lot of different people because there are different organisms within her speaking. And she's hearing them. And she doesn't have control over them. That's the issue. That he's one of the things he's going into. And so when we get back to food, food is a drug. And when you eat these things and they get into your vessel and then they start creating communities within your, what they call the gut and all over your body, really. But they create communities, and then I want to eat healthy today. And we're going to have a salad. Well, your body is pizza, Krispy Kreme, Taco Bell. That's what your body starts saying because you have put those organisms within you and they're voting and they're talking. And you just think, oh, it's, that's just food. I'm hungry and I got to get some nourishment. No, there are beings in you that are speaking. This is why you have to be careful about what you're eating, what you're putting in your vessel, and then you have to learn how to be disciplined. Otherwise, they will control you. St. Wynn says, I appreciate this video. I love learning about existing. A question, I believe everything to be preordained because the Creator has knowledge of all. So do I make choices in my life or do I experience them? That's a beautiful question, all right? You do have the right to choose. we're going to get into this session about multi-dimensions, okay? And understanding that when you make a decision on how you choose to react or feel about something, you are constantly switching dimensions. And they have told us, oh, it's 2021, 2022, 2023, all of this is happening at the same time. So it's not linear, it's all happening at the same time. And when you understand how to control your energies and your vibratory frequency, then you can change whatever dimension you're in by changing your vibratory frequency. We're going to talk about it today. Thank you for that question. Thank y'all for joining. All right. Ariel says, the darkness is the light. It's in both men and women, the energy. Right. So Ariel is talking about a universal principle. And let me pull it up here. All right. This is a universal principle. It's called the law of gender. Everything, and that's number 12 on this universal chart. But everything has feminine and masculine, everything. All right. And so what has happened when we're talking about the male is that a lot of the feminine aspects have been taken away. So when all of those 1,300 genes are removed from that X chromosome to turn it into a Y, then a lot of the feminine properties or the ability to create, that's been taken away. And so what we don't understand is the spiritual side of that, which I go into a lot in the book that we have coming out. But you're going to really, the more you get into the spiritual side of this and understand what's going on, the more you'll be able to tap in and then start creating your own dimension right here before the vessel even expires. The more you understand about the masculine and the feminine, women have both the yin and the yang, men have a yin and a yang, but a lot of his feminine aspects or attributes have been taken away. But once he understands what that is about and how to respect the feminine, well, he can create his own dimensions too. So we're going to get more into that. Thank you for that question. I'm going to answer all of your questions too, so please put in the comment section so we can get to them. All right, so now going into this next session, and thank y'all for joining, all my TikTok people, all my YouTube, I love you. Thank you. And my ex, what's going on? All right, the next section we want to talk about, this is and I'm going to go into this about children and who they really are coming up in here, because I've talked a lot about this as well. All right, so let's get into it.
That shouldn't happen, like a young child gets killed or
ain't no young child. The child probably grown a bit. I just told you all the souls are reincarnated. Nigga, show me somebody young. Show me somebody young, gang.
Well,
no, they're just in a young body, but they not young. So I don't give no fuck about them. Come back in another body then. You shouldn't be so stupid. Come back in another, get you a different mama and daddy then.
So,
all right. So he says there are not any young people. And this is one of the things that I've been speaking about for quite some time. We think that a baby is always innocent, it's new, it's just coming back, it's just here, it didn't do anything, it has no karma. One of the things I've told you guys is that all these beings that come in here, they are old spirits coming back in a new vessel. And so when they're coming into this dimension or back into this dimension as an old spirit in a new vessel, they are carrying karmic baggage. So what you see, you think that's an innocent child. But even the Bible says we are all born of sin. Well, what they're speaking about is this karmic baggage that people are, a newborn is carrying. So a child is nothing more than an old spirit returning back in a new vessel. That's what it is. And people don't recognize that. So when, that child got shot or that child got this or they shouldn't have had that, they a newborn baby. But there's a karmic baggage. And what he's trying to, and this goes back into what one of the other questions was, where he says, what did he say? Am I just experiencing this? Part of it is experiencing it, but another part of it is what you have created in a past lifetime. So if you want to change that, you change you right here, right now, and then that creates the dimension that you care to see. But if you're getting all kinds of negative energy, it's not just happenstance. Even if it's a child, yes, listen, there are no victims. That's another universal principle. Law of, one of my favorites, law of correspondence. This is real. See, he speaks from these laws, even if he doesn't speak them. But when you're going into these secret societies, the first thing they're learning is universal principles. They know them as the 7 hermetic principles. These are the universal laws. The same thing. So there are no victims. So even when you're talking about a child that something negative happens to, that's an old spirit carrying a karmic baggage that has to be returned. All right. So let's keep going. And once again, put your questions in the comment section, because I'm going to answer them in a few seconds. So he's talking about a parallel universe. Let's get into this.
I slipped once. One time I went in my house, but it was a different time. And a lot of people think I'm crazy, but I went in my house. I swear I'm not lying to you. It was a different time zone. So when I'm saying the universe, we live in a parallel universe.
Right.
Like the past and the future and the present, kind of like
they run concurrent. They can run
all connected.
Yeah.
So it's loopholes in that. It's a computer. So that stuff happened. And the problem is a lot of people won't believe it, but it happened. Man. Everything. Listen, it happened. You just don't know. It's mermaids too.
What do you think about, like, okay, you know how they?
All right. So I wanted to find this. So let me show this real quick. This is because a lot of people don't understand what we mean when we say parallel dimensions, and I'm just going to go into this real quick. So I'm going to go into this real quick, and I hope that you guys can follow me, because sometimes people don't understand what we mean when we say dimensions. And so let me kind of give you this visual. This is one of the ones that we show our students so we can understand what a parallel universe is. All right. So when we're talking about the first dimension, for those of y'all who've been in math and you've studied this, you know what the x-axis is. All right. It's a line. That would be considered your first dimension. Then we're talking about your second dimension. We're talking about height. So we'll be talking about length, and then we're talking about height. So it'd be your X dimension and then your Y dimension. That's your second dimension. And then we're talking about your third dimension. We're talking about depth. That would be considered the Z. All right. Now you got 3 dimensions. So when we talk about, what's going on in your third dimension, we're just talking about the things that you see, you feel, you touch. It's a box, it's a plate, it's a whatever it is, a computer. It's a third dimensional object with a length, height, and width. All right, that's what third dimension is. Now, when we start going into your fourth dimension, we're talking about the ancestral plane. We're talking about the dimension where your ancestors go when the body expires. You can see everything. You can hear everything. You can see the past, present, and future in this place. But you notice that nobody talking about we're going to be in the fourth dimension. No, they don't want to get stuck in that dimension. That's also considered a magical dimension. All right, we've moved through that now. We in the fifth dimension now. All right. So, but what happens is your third dimension is like your universe. It's Everything that is your mama, your daddy, your sister, your cousin, your lover, your workers, your co-workers, the people who you don't know, the birds and the bees, the nature, all of this is your third dimension, which is a reflection of you. All right, let me carry on. So in your third dimension, as I said, we're moving through the fourth because that's the ancestral plane. But in your third dimension, we're moving into the fifth dimension now. With the fourth dimension, again, that's where you see everything, you know everything, but that's a dimension where your ancestors reside. And let's understand that those of us who are in tune, like this guy, he's some kind of way in tune. All right, like me. Look, we can hear the ancestors speak. We're tuned in to a frequency where they are, and we can hear them speak. Now, when we're moving into the fifth dimension, that's another sense that you're developing now. All right, and it's similar to the x-axis, but it deals with your actions. And I'm going to go through this quickly. All right, so let me make this clear before I go on into this, because somebody asked a question about, am I experiencing life or am I making a decision? So let's use this as an example. Let's say you are walking and you walking along a sidewalk and you almost walk off the curb, but you catch yourself before you walk off the curb and a big bus comes by. It zooms by, and had you stepped off that curb, you would have been gone. You would have been splat. Well, in the dimension where your consciousness resides, you didn't get hit by that bus. But in another dimension, you got hit by that bus. All right? But your consciousness is not in that dimension. It's in this dimension. And the reason why you didn't get hit by that bus has to do with something else in your past that protected you from getting hit by that bus. I'm not going into that right now because that's another deeper story. But let's look at these dimensions here. These are dimensions. They're side by side. So right here, let's say that this is where you get hit by that bus because you're in a lower vibratory frequency. Now, there's other dimensions over here that's in the negative. We don't deal with that over there. We only dealing in the positive because that's where we stand. All right. But right here, that would be the lowest dimension you're in, and you would have been hit by that bus. But because of some previous actions that you did, and I'm talking about you did something positive to keep you getting hit from that bus. Your subconscious or your consciousness is in this dimension here, as opposed to this one down here. So all of these, they look the same. They look like they're the same exact dimension, but they have different energies and frequencies associated with them. So because you are in a higher vibratory frequency and you did some other positive actions, you weren't down here to get hit by that bus. Okay, let me go on. Because then you have, this is the fifth dimension, actions. Your sixth dimensions would be the vibratory frequency, meaning how do you feel? Are you happy or sad? Notice your lower vibratory frequencies are down here in the red and the yellow. These are lower vibratory frequencies, whereas your higher vibratory frequencies are up here. All right. Now, look at all these extra dimensions that are popping up now. These are all parallel dimensions dealing with your action and your vibratory frequency. So if you have a positive energy, a positive vibratory frequency up here, and the actions that you've been taking, that's going to determine which one of these dimensions that you are in. All of them look the same, but they're not. All of these dimensions, they look, your mama gonna look the same, your daddy, your cousin, your wife, but because of your frequency, they're not the same. They have to change based on your energy. Okay, let me go on. Because now when we're talking about, this is the fifth, actions is the fifth dimension, sixth dimension, vibratory frequency. Now let's go into the seventh dimension. What do you believe? What do you believe? All right, what am I talking about? Have you all, if you've ever talked to any kind of people who deal with the ill, medical people, doctors, nurses, they will tell you that the people, when they've been told, oh, you're going to die, you got 4 months to live, the people who believe that, they're the ones who die. But the ones who say, nah, I know my God. The ones who have a different belief system and say, no, I'm going to beat this. Those are the ones who are most likely to live. That's because of their belief system. So once again, look at all of these parallel dimensions in here. And what happens is we learn, and this going back to that question where somebody said, do I have a choice or am I just experiencing it? All right, all of your dimensions have been created for you, yes. But which one you decide to be in has everything to do with your actions, your vibratory frequency, and your beliefs. So we're going from the third dimension where you didn't know what was happening. Everything was just happening to you and you just sit back and let it happen, to learning how to control your third dimension, and that's by controlling your actions, your vibratory frequency, and your beliefs. When you do that, this is when you start creating your own dimension, and you get to choose which one of these dimensions you're living in, because all the dimensions that you can possibly think of in your mind, they exist, but you can only get there by changing these three things. Your actions. What are you doing when you wake up in the morning? You know, are you rolling over and you're thanking God and you're showing gratitude? Okay. When something triggers you, are you staying in a negative vibratory frequency? Are you learning how to, okay, I'm gonna let that go? What are your beliefs? Somebody told you you can't do it. Do you believe it? You get to choose by changing these things about yourself. Okay. Once again, if you want to join the UNA University, leave your name, number, and email. We'd be glad to have you in there because we go over these type of things and understanding the spiritual side of this game. Okay, so now let's get back to let me see if I have any questions. I'm gonna take questions real quick. How I found this video, but I thank you. I understand exactly what you're saying. Thank you, Sanguine. I was meditating today and made it to the void after emerald within. All right, let's see. Only the free can see when you're on the frequency. That's right. Ariel says a dark truth. Men scared they bisexual, meaning both energies, so they be fighting the feminine energy with their masculine. Oh man, Ariel, that's true. And I really wanted to go into that. I won't go into it on this session, but the masculine and the feminine, how my brothers, when you come into the university, it's like, listen, I need you to tap into that feminine side because that's where the power is. And the problem is when men are constantly fighting that feminine side, you make everything harder. I got one brother, and I've been working with him for 3 years, and it's like, listen, you making my work harder, okay? I need you to tap into the feminine side because you think, oh, I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna make this money, I'm gonna do this. And it's like, if you ask the universe and you let the universe work, all kind of things will open up for you. I remember, I gotta say this real quick since Ariel brought this up. Listen, I told this brother, I said, listen, I'm here to help you get your house situated and get all this situated, okay? I need you to put in an application to get the house. All right, we saw this house. I helped you find it. You said you like it. Put the application in. Oh, no, I'm gonna have the money because I don't worry about that. Put the application in. But I gotta figure out how. So all this thinking he's doing, like on the masculine side, he never did what I told him to do. And had he done it, he would have been in that house. Because the spirit put it on me to get him in that house. And it was going to happen, but he needed to do his side. But he refused to do the feminine work because he's trying to do the masculine stuff. Don't fight the feminine. Because in doing that, the money was going to show up and he would have been in there and no problem. So this is one of the things that we have to go through in understanding all of these laws, masculine and feminine, how we both have it, the laws of duality, how there are no victims. Okay, we're going to get into it. My TikTok people, please leave your questions. Didn't know that cause I do fight it. Oh, okay. King said, I'm fighting. All right, King, we're gonna get you into your power. That's where we're trying to go. Different state of consciousness. I'm just looking through my questions on here on TikTok. Bobby Hemmett does go into what he says about Abraxas. Okay, cool. Thank you, Granny. See, I've never been a big Bobby Hemmett viewer. So I don't know. I don't have a full understanding of everything that he went through. I've heard some of it, but not a lot. So, but yeah, she says that he did go into Abraxas. Okay, so now let's go back into this because he talks about the child, all right, and how there's power within children that we are not aware of. All right.
I just told you that. Listen. A kid, listen, let me tell you this. I want to have a kid for this one reason. Never send it to school. Because this is what I believe. I believe that they school is what wipe the child's mind, makes them forget. I believe the system is start the circulation thing, and that's what makes the child forget. I think without school, a child will remember who they was.
Okay, so one of the things he's speaking about is that the child, when they come back into this dimension, because remember, this is an old spirit coming back in a new vessel. They do have a memory. They know. But then when you send them to school, they beat the imagination up out of them. They cause them to lose their knowledge of self. And another thing, vaccinations. If you're vaccinating your child, okay, I get it. We didn't know any better. Now you know. You don't want them to vaccinate your child because this is another way that they're causing your child to lose, or how all of us have lost knowledge of self and where we come from. Some of us remember, some of us are able to tap back in, but you got to recognize that there's a spiritual side to this game. And all of these vaccinations, the indoctrination with this so-called education, you got to understand that all of that's being done to further remove you from source. All right. So this is why it's important to really get an understanding of what's going on the spiritual side, because there are those entities that are working to keep you enslaved and recycling in that infinity loop. Okay, let me carry on. If you have questions, please put them in the comment section. I want to get to them.
Slavery and like that.
Oh, slavery never happened.
What?
It never happened. It never happened. It never happened. Listen, all they did was they defeated the Moors. Well, after they like backdoored the Moors and like that, they act like slavery happened. So they killed everybody and then woke you up and told you, you free. They woke you up and told you was free, but you was never a slave. Oh, and they stole 4,000 years when they was at it. You don't know. But when we woke up, all the noses was shot off, the city was different. But you was so stupid because they told you that all these pyramids was built by only had rocks and bricks and like this. So you
all right. He says slavery never existed. Thank you, Savvy. Slavery never existed. All right. And so let's understand something. Listen to how that guy responded. I can't tell you how many people whom I've spoken with when we talk about slavery and how it didn't happen the way it was told to us, and they get angry. They get, because it's like, What do you mean? We was enslaved, and they want to hold on to this lie that we have been taught. And the reason, listen, this is why we have our history sessions that we do, the current effects of history, because we're going to go back and show you who's who. And the fact that the original people, even when you talk about the so-called founding fathers, you can go back and read the Declaration of Independence and understand there was melanated people in here doing that. You can understand that those were Moors, and not to say that all Moors were melanated people, but the vast majority of Moors were. The people who created the Constitution, those were melanated people. When you're talking about the so-called, before George Washington, there was the Continental Congress. That was melanated people. There was presidents during that time before George Washington. They don't talk about those people because they were melanated. Somebody has rewritten the history just like they're doing now. I want to talk about this real quick, and then I'm going to finish up with 607, and then I want y'all to ask questions. You all know about the Mandela effect, the so-called Mandela effect, where all of us people who lived in this time period, we remember a certain thing one way, but then some kind of way it's being rewritten in history. You've got this Mandela and what happened with him and how we remember one story, but then in history it's written a different way. Bernstein Bears was another one, and there's a couple of the most recent one being Ed McMahon. Now, what do we know of Ed McMahon? We know Ed McMahon being with the Publishers Clearinghouse. That's what we know, most of us who was living in this time. But when you go and look up Publishers Clearinghouse or Ed McMahon, they want to tell you, well, a lot of people have this idea and notion that Ed McMahon did Publishers Clearinghouse. Well, wait, I just asked you about Ed McMahon. Why are you talking about Publishers Clearinghouse? And I asked you about Publishers Clearinghouse. Why did you bring up Ed McMahon? Why? Because you're rewriting the history. It's being done right here, right now. History is being rewritten. And my point of bringing that up is that the same thing happened with this slavery deal. There were melanated people originally in this land, and they had woolly hair, and we got documentation, and I show it clearly. And as a matter of fact, I've done open sessions on it several times where we go through and we show the proof, we show the images of the people who were in the land, and then the people who came over from Spain, and they were melanated, woolly hair like mine. And then we show the people who were coming over from what do we call it, Britain. We're showing who the people were coming over from Morocco. Who were they? These were melanated people. And so what we find out is there's a whole bunch of melanated people were fighting. Well, where these Albions come from? Well, we go into that too. And so the deal is when you do your own research, then you understand that somebody fed you a lie about history so that they can change your future. If you believe the history and that all you come from is slavery and less than and negative and poverty, if that's what you believe, then I can change your future. Remember, beliefs have a big role to play in the dimension that you put your subconscious in. Beliefs. So if I can make you believe you came from something less than, then I can control what your future looks like. But the moment you change your beliefs, then you get to decide what your future looks like. And that's where we are right now. So when he's talking about history and this guy, what? We were slaves. You want to hold on to that. Why? Why do you not want to find the truth? because you want reparations. See, I go into that too, and how you really get your reparations. All right. If you want to get the true reparations, you don't do it by trying to hold on to a lie. All right. I won't go into that. ISK says Ankh has no ego or fear of government. You know, and let's speak about that. Thank you, ISK. The thing about Ankh is he doesn't have any fear about people calling him crazy. So let me say this for those of us who've been putting this information out. You getting on a session like this, or you speaking to people, you got to have some kind of an ego, all right, in order to be able to say, look at me, listen to me, hear what I'm saying. That takes an ego. But it is very difficult for those of us who put this information out to speak to people who don't want to know, who are willfully ignorant. And even on this show, he gets angry with them and he goes off because he's saying, y'all play too much. You don't want to know the truth. You just want to be stuck and indoctrinated in this and believe something that's not true. And so, but he's still willing to do it, even though they try to play him for being stupid, which he's really not. And as I said again, 95% and then some of the things that he put out, they on point. I know, I've studied them, I've taught them, I've spoken on them for over a decade. So I got a lot of respect for him, even though I think some substances are involved. Because he said he crack, fentanyl, some other things that he's done. So yeah, some of that is playing a role in it. But then I got to say this, and then I'm going to get to the next. You all know of that religion called Scientology. All right. So in Scientology, there was Ron L. Hubbard, Albion guy. And he put out this book called Dianetics or something like that, Dianetics. And his son, because, you know, L. Ron Hubbard was, he was under investigation for a long time. He went on the run. I don't even know if they found him yet. But his son had to appear or testify before Congress or something because there was a trial being held. And so his son says that the way the Dianetic book came about is because his father, Ron L. Hubbard, gave him some LSD. And then when he gave him that LSD, you know, he went into whatever his trip was, and his father started asking him questions about things while he was on his trip. And, you know, so as he's on his trip, he's in his high or whatever, his father's asking, all right, son, and blah, 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 blah. And he's writing it down. And then he says, this is how the book Dianetics came about. Now, the reason why I bring up Dianetics is because for me, I had heard so much about it, and I was like, let me read it, because I cannot talk. I don't want to say anything about something until I've read it. Like, I don't want to be putting it down or dissing it or whatever until I've had the opportunity to read it or experience it as much as I can in its entirety. Now, so when I read the book Dianetics, and I read the whole book, it was very much in line with spirituality and everything he's talking about and everything I talk about. I don't get my information from that book, but I'm saying the things in that book, even though there's different terms being used, is very much in alignment with spirituality. So I don't, and let me be clear on this, I'm not endorsing Scientology religion or any other religion for that matter. What I'm saying is they got that information from somebody who was on a trip. And this guy, 607, might look like he's on a trip. But a lot of times, sometimes you got to get outside of the vessel in order to be able to see source. Now, I don't encourage anybody to do that. I don't. Don't go on a trip. I say meditate. That's where my information comes from, my meditation, because I don't do any of that. I've never been involved. I've never indulged in any of that. But I am saying you've got to be willing to get outside of this vessel in order to really be able to communicate with source. And sometimes people, you got too much stress, your body hurts, you ate too much, you're too hungry. You cannot tap into source because you too stuck in this third dimensional vessel. So I'm just saying this. He might be on a trip. But everything he's saying, the vast majority of it, I agree with it. All right. Because I've studied it and I know what he's talking about is on point. All right. Let me get into these last sessions, and then I'm going to ask the questions. All right. In this section, he talks about technology, and we're going to get into it. All right.
Who built the pyramids?
Yeah. Technology been around. They just give it to you a little bit at a time because they sold 4,000 years. Right. So if I feel 4,000 years, I give it to you a little bit at a time. That's why you like get the iPhone, the 13 come out, next thing the 14. Like the fuck, I ain't used the 13 yet because they got 30 of them done already. Right. Shout out to Elon Musk.
So
yeah, the world in a trick.
So if this is the lowest realm, we're the lowest realm.
Yeah, because the devil lives it.
All right. So once again, shout out to Real Life Production. They did this is a good session. I enjoyed it. So thank you, Savvy. So the thing that I'm saying is technology. All right. What I've learned is that there is a re-engineering of this technology that has been here. So when we go back and look at the pyramids, people want to act like, just like he said, like these were primitive beings that created the pyramids. And even they'll say that it was the Egyptians that created the pyramid, when that's not what my research is showing. All right. There were beings that had knowledge and technology and abilities to create that were here before the so-called Egyptians. And these were, a lot of them, giants. And when you look at would you go back and just do research on how the pyramids were built? And you're going to see the precision of the cuts and the angles which they're set up, which is in alignment with the stars. This is not something the primitive people did. These are, to be able to make the cuts that they made in the angles, we can't even do that today with the technology we have. So there is a re-engineering of technology. Another thing that I found in my studies is that some people or beings or people have learned how to tap into the spiritual side. So they'll use certain people as a conduit to tap into the spiritual side to get information from what he's talking about, so-called demons. All right. And one of the things that they have found, or in my research, is that the demons would lie, because they want to be back in this dimension. Remember, I talked to you about the fourth dimension, where nobody's talking about, we're going to be in the fourth dimension. No, they're talking about moving through the fifth dimension. Are you going to skip over from the third to the fifth? Yeah, because in the fourth dimension, there are entities there. And again, I told you, some people have learned how to tap into them. And so some of them will give information in return for the ability to reappear in this third dimension, because being in this dimension gives them some kind of clout. It gives them the ability to move things that they can't move in the fourth dimension. So what they'll do is they'll say, okay, well, yeah, we got this technology and it does this and this and this, and then they'll lie about exactly, or they give them just a little piece of the information, but not everything, so that they can get what they want. And then the technology that they end up creating backfires some kind of way, or ends up hurting them. So there's been a lot of that too, where there's a back and forth between these so-called spiritual entities and the humans that are trying to tap into the knowledge and the technology that they have. Again, a lot of this knowledge resides in the spiritual realm. But then I need to say this too, because a lot of people think that, you know, that, or they're not aware that there are beings that live longer than 100 years. And you can see this when you start reading documentation and you start, look, the Bible told you, y'all didn't believe Methuselah, oh, he's 900 years, but those years, they were shorter. No. Remember fasting? Remember, listen, if you don't eat as much, you live much longer. But when you eating all the time and you eating 3 times a day, well, you're degrading the longevity of your life. That's what the Bible is telling you. Stop eating so much. So when you're talking about Methuselah and all of them and Malak and whoever else, Noah, and them living for hundreds of years, that was there was the ability to do that because they weren't eating like you eat. They weren't eating the things that you eat. Okay, there are beings, y'all like, oh, you know, who died and came back? Somebody just didn't die. They're just still here. They live for hundreds of years and they see full cycles. And you have the ability to do that too when you decide you want to tap in. All right. So technology. All right. All of that is being re-engineered. It's been here. And even just if you look in this, you go look in the archives of where they're telling you to register or get a patent for things. There are patents that have been like they have been hidden that can do things like levitate, or they can, you know, flying machines, or even machines that don't run on gas. That's been created, but somebody's hiding that technology. All right, so even just on this level, somebody's hiding it, but there's a higher technology that people get from the spiritual realm yeah, they're hiding that as well. All right, so let me take on any questions. I want to thank everybody for joining. What he teaches is Gnostic. Gnostic. Who is he? Are you talking about 607, or are you talking about Bobby Hemmett? I know Bobby Hemmett teaches Gnostic. Let's see. Gnosticism is the foundation for Christianity. Okay, he's on the right path at least. All right, I think they're having a conversation in the comment section. Let me see. Does anybody, if you have any questions, put them in the comment section. SS says, I love you, Diva. I love you, SS. I love you too. You have any questions? Diva, I'm loving the stream. Keep it up. Thank you, Radio Shaman. I thank you for the love. Y'all not going to get reparations while still calling yourselves black. Thank you, Preston Davis. If you calling yourself, and let me go into this, because I was on this this session on TikTok one time, and this woman was like, you know, I call myself a black Indian or black, what did you say, black American, and she was just so proud, and it was, I wasn't trying to bust her bubble, but when I explained to her, and I'm going to tell you, since my friend brought this up, when we're talking about black, legally, it means that you're dead. You have no right of ownership. You're fictitious. That's what black means. And originally the term black was not applied to melanated people. I even go into this in class. You know what? I'm going to go into it real quick. I got time today. Let me do it real quick. All right. So that's from a legal standpoint. All right. From an etymological standpoint, the term black comes from the terms B-L-E-A-K or B-L-A-E-K, which means bleak or pale and without color. Etymologically, it describes something as white. I'm going to pull this up right now. Hold on. Let's look at it. Put this on the screen for me, Savvy. All right, so what happens is, and by the way, this is Etamon Online, and I'm not a big fan of Etamon Online because they keep changing things, and then they say things that contradict. But let's take a look at this. Confusion with black or bleak or black. Blake, the surname Blake, one of pale complexion. And then it turns around and says one of dark complexion. Which one is it? And then it comes up here and says Blake means pale. What bleak or Blake means, up here it says it means pale or pallid. It means whitish or blonde. It means shining or white. Pale without color is what the term black means. Now, let's take a look at this now. Now, if you go and look up the term white, all right, so we're making this English to, here you go, Italian. Now, this letter could look like an L. But anything that ends with a BL and ends with a cuss sound in any other language, it means white. Look, let's go to Espanol. Blanco, blanca. So why is it in the English language, black means dark, whereas in any other country, BL and cuss sound, it means white. Hold on, French, blanche or blanc. What I'm saying to you is that somebody has switched the terms as they have been doing, rewriting history, and you're using a term not understanding the true etymology of what it means. So we're not even going to get into the spiritual side of what this term means. But the bottom line is, when you're talking about black, it means pale and without color. That's where it originally came from, the term. All right, so now let's take a look at the SF 181 form. I want to look at that real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. Okay, so when we're looking at the SF1, and for those of you all who don't know what the SF 181 form is, it's an ethnicity and race form. Now, it deals with a federal mandate on the benefits that a person is supposed to have when they claim a certain title. All right, so let's take a look at this. All right, so I'm pulling this down. And we're going to take a look at the SF 181 form. We got this up on the screen. Okay, so this is the SF 181 form. Now, and I'm showing you this because I need you to understand the difference between these terms, black and white. Now, let me go to the top of this so you all can see. Ethnicity and race identification form. Now, if you come down here, they got 5 categories that you can choose from. African, Indian, or Alaskan Native. and it says a person. Let's be clear that anything you fill out on this form is dealing with your dead fictitious corporate entity, not you, the spiritual being. All right. A person having origins in any of the original peoples of North, South America, including Central America, and who maintains tribal affiliations or community attachment. All right. Asian. All right. A person having origins in any of the original peoples of the Far East, Southeast Asia, or the Indian continent, including, for example, Cambodia, China, India, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Pakistan, the Philippine Islands, Thailand, and Vietnam. Okay. So then I want to skip over this one. And let's go to here. Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islanders. A person having origins in any of the original peoples of Hawaii, Guam, Samoa, or other Pacific Islands. Then it says white, and we're going to come back to this one. A person, which is a dead fictitious entity. For those of you who don't know, person means a corporate entity legally. A person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. Now, let's go here to Black and African American. Okay. This is a person, dead entity, having origins in any of the Black racial groups of Africa. We ain't really talk about a landmass there. And let's understand that African American, this means you're an orphan. Because when these people deal with your corporate entity, they want to know, do you have a nation that you're associated with? And Africa is not a nation, it is a continent. America is not a nation, it is a continent. So when you claim African American, that's not a nation. What you said is that you're an orphan. And now they're going to treat you as such. This means that you get less benefits when you choose Black or African American. This is why we talk about the SF 181 form, so that you can choose which one you want. All right, now I need to go down here to white, and let's be clear, because this is going back to this whole slavery thing that we have been lied to about. All right, white, it says a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe. Why they say original peoples, people? Why? Why would they say? Because who are the original peoples of Europe? Does anybody, since y'all like trivia, know who Europe was named after? Anybody? Anybody? Anybody in TikTok land? Do you know who Europe was named after? Let's see. Anybody here? Did we get cut off? All right. So let's go into this. All right. Europe was named after Queen Europa, which is a melanated woman. All right. She is who Europe was named after. And the original peoples of Europe were melanated people. Your Moors of Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli, Morocco. Those were your original Europeans. Haven't y'all noticed why the term Indo-European, where that come from? Why you didn't just say European? Because they want to tell you, oh, the Europeans came over here and they did this. Well, who were the original Europeans? Those were melanated people. Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli, Morocco, all the Barbary countries, all of those were in North Africa. All right, so the original peoples of Europe, your original Europeans, those are melanated people. The Middle East, You mean over there where Saudi Arabia is? Those original people were like, you talking about the Philistines who like, well, the original Jews were black or dark skinned. Why the Jews coming back here light skinned? The Middle East, where the melanated people were. Oh, and it says or North Africa. You mean the melanated people? Hold up. This just got three. The original peoples who were melanated, the Middle East who were melanated, and in North Africa, those are the white people? Did you just tell me that all the white people are melanated? So now some of y'all need to understand why Africans, that they be darker than me and you darker than my jacket, they come over here and they get classified as white. So once again, the terms black and white, they have nothing to do with skin color. They are a status. And whatever status you choose is how they're going to determine what you deserve or how you are treated concerning your estate, that Social Security estate. Whatever you get classified as, that determines how you're treated. So if you're calling yourself black, then you said you're an orphan. You have no rights to anything. That term legally means you're dead. Okay, any questions? People in the back of the room, y'all heard? You heard me? All right, do I have any other questions before I get out of here? I want y'all to know I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you. Thank you for all the love. It is missing your energy, your everything. Is called divide and conquer for a reason. Okay, are y'all arguing in the comment section? I think that's what y'all doing. Anybody have any questions? Khazarians pretending they're from Israel is hilarious, right? What's the physical difference in the estate? What is the physical difference in the estate? I'm not sure if I understand your question, Radio. What is the physical difference in the estate? Which are you talking about? The black, white, Asian estates? Is that what you're talking about? Clear that question up for me, so that I can answer it now. And let's understand, in these different racial, quote unquote, racial categories, again, you got to understand that every time you get a Social Security number, then an estate is created on your behalf. Now, how much of that estate you have access to is determined by what you have claimed to be on this SF-181 form. So if you claim to be black, then you claim to be an orphan, and your status is the lowest of the low. If you claim to be white, see, white originally meant purity of blood, royalty, and owner of land. The reason why these Africans, most of the Africans, especially coming in from Morocco, they were royalty. They were a part of some kind of way the Moroccan Empire, and they were part of the Sultan and all of that. So they had some clout. So they come over here and their status would be white. But you notice that this includes only North Africa when we're talking about white. They ain't talking about the Hamitic South African. Why you leave South Africa? Look down here. For white, they got North Africa. Well, what about South Africa? Why South Africa get left out? Well, they weren't talking about the Hamitics. They were talking about the Israelites that had moved and taken over that land and conquered that land. Those were the ones who were considered royalty. There's a difference between even the melanated groups. Okay. I don't exactly state like mind, state, and a state of the mind. State of mind. Okay. Now I don't fully understand what Arel is asking, but this is what I'll say. When you get control of self, this is why we go through helping you get your trust set up. When you get control of self, that's the first thing. Then you can determine how you're treated in this system concerning your estate. Okay, but until you get control of your mind, and your state of mind is in this right order, you can't control this estate here. All right, let's be clear on that. Now, anybody else have any questions for me? Because I'm ready to get out of here. I want y'all to know I really do appreciate y'all tapping in and tuning in. I hope you got some information and knowledge from this. Getting back to 607, is he in his right mind? Again, I told you some substances that play with him, but at the same time, everything he's speaking on is on point. Almost everything. There's a little bit of thing, the male-female split, is not a split. My brother is my sister. But spiritually, yeah, we come from different places. I can see that spiritually, but physically, my brother's my sister. And everything that comes from him, he got from her. There's nothing he has, not even a penis. She got one. Not even sperm. She got sperm. I go through this. But everything he has comes from her. My brother is my sister. But for the most part, everything 607 says, he's on point. And I'm really happy that he's putting it out. He's very bold, even though people want to think of him as crazy or what have you. He's very, very bold because, he's got to put it out the way. I think he's sent. He's sent in the sense that it's time for people to start hearing it, and they've got to hear it from a different format. They got to hear it from a person who's delivering it in a different way. And so I'm really happy about that. So however it needs to get out, the information needs to get out, and I hope people hear it and they start researching on their own and coming out of the indoctrination that we have been given here. Right. So before I get out of here, what was the main thing he said that was on point? I just happened to happen in, unless you mean in general. Okay, really, thank you, Zosha. In general, the things that he says is on point, but some of the things real quick to recap, and thank you for that question. Some of the things real quick to recap on what he spoke about that I say are on point. Water has feelings. You all need to come to grips and understanding that water is in everything, and it has a vibratory frequency. And so he used water to tell the different energies that are in the room. And I've shown you guys several examples of how you can show that water has a frequency, it has feelings, and it's very responsive to your energy. So he's on point with that. He talks about Abraxas and Sophia, and he's that is I can't speak on. All right, so that's something that a lot of people spoke on. I can't speak on that. When he talks about the male-female split, that I disagree with. Spiritually, they might be from two different places, but physically, there's not a split. There is a male that has been degraded to degraded from a female, because everything starts feminine. Everything comes from the feminine. He talked about reincarnation. Reincarnation is real. I've done several sessions on that on this channel. So he's on point. The body, you on point. No food on point. Children. All these children. A child is nothing more than an old spirit vessel. Old. The thing is, you got to who are in because we always work and always he's on point. A parallel universe, he's on point, and I showed that. If you get a chance, go back and watch the video. Children have, and when they go into school, they're indoctrinated, and all their memories white. Slave is not what we have been told it is, and somebody has rewritten our history so that they can control our future. All right, he's on point. Technology, we are re-engineering what was already here. He's on point. So all of those things that he spoke about, yeah, with the exception of the split, we good. I totally agree. All right, so anybody else have any questions before I get out of here? Yeah, he's on point. Thank you, Big Money. All right, so I want to once again thank you for tuning in. We will be back next Friday. you are interested in joining the university.com. You're on TikTok or even leave it into our workshop. Okay? Anybody interested in that at university.com. All right. You can find the link to get the trust package at unauniversity.com. Y'all stay in your right. We are in the fifth dimension. Control this third dimension by controlling your fifth, sixth, seventh dimension. Okay, your actions, your vibratory frequency, and your beliefs. Okay, all right. Hope y'all got something from this session. I love you. We out, Diva. Bye bye. Hold on, wait a minute. I should get my hug. Wait a minute. All right, bye bye. Give me a hug, y'all. Hug. Bye.